Hey, hi, and hello, everyone, and welcome to the June edition of the Talent Table. Super excited to be here this morning. I'm Rebecca Warren. I'll be your host for the day. I work with Eightfold, helping organizations transform their talent life cycle through the lens of people instead of jobs. So before I get started, I'm going to do a few housekeeping things, and then we'll have our amazing guests introduce themselves. So if you look towards the bottom of your screen, you're going to see some widgets that you can use during the event. There is further related reading in the resources section. You can ask us questions in the Q&A, and there will be a question that I ask to our guests, and I'll ask you to throw in your feedback as well. So use the Q&A. If we can't get to your question during the session, we may answer it afterwards in a follow-up message, maybe a future webinar, a LinkedIn post, maybe a blog. So throw in your questions there, and we'll do our best to get them answered either in the flow or afterwards. Also, mark your calendar for our talent table coming up next month in July, championing change, how to mobilize team leaders around AI and skills. And I will be somewhere in Ireland, not sure where, but it will be wet. So I will be coming to you from Ireland next month. So for our talent table today, we have two fantastic panelists. We've got Jig and we've got Mark. And so I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and maybe what you're looking forward to on this webinar. And then we'll get to our fun question of the month. So Mark, I'm going to go to you first. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll throw it on over to Jig.
Yeah, hi. Mark Condon, often called Condo within the company, and I'm happy for it to be called today. So Australians like to shorten everything, so I don't think we can spell, so that's part of the problem. I'm the managing partner and founded Quantum Work Advisory, which is a workforce consulting company. We work in the TA, TM, services procurement, contingent workforce, all those good things, space, HR, designing and implementing technology as well. So yeah, that's me, 20 odd, 30 odd years, getting old. So yeah, that's my background.
All right, we're glad you're here. Jig, tell us about yourself.
Hi everyone, really happy to be here. Jig Ramji. I have done a number of different things in my 20+ career, also getting old, Mark, as well. But yeah, I've done chief talent officer roles for a number of organizations such as Bloomberg, the London Stock Exchange Group, and Aviva. I've also been a chief people officer or regional head of HR or global head of HR for companies like Bloomberg and Fujitsu Services. And I've also been a consultant for many years in human capital for an organization that I'm sure everyone's very familiar with, Deloitte as well. And then I have lived and worked in many, many countries, very privileged to have worked in many, many countries, including obviously the UK where I am now, but also in the Netherlands, in Australia, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, and also a short stint in the US as well. So really pleased to be here and really excited about having a little bit of fun along the way.
Yeah, I've got you covered on probably age, but I've also lived in Singapore, the US, but I've never lived in actually 8 months picking apples in the UK and working in a bar until I was fired. But anyway, another story.
It sounds like we've got lots of stories that we may have to either figure out how to fit them in or maybe save for a future chat. So love the stories of where you've been and the things that you've done. I think that's going to fit in really well to the topic that we have, talking about connecting innovation and employees to business strategy and taking the jargon and the junk out of it. So before we get to that, I would love to have our panelists answer this question of the month. Okay, you ready? Would you rather go on a 5-day road trip? I know it's going to be a long one, so we have to listen to it. 5-day road trip on a party bus with very extroverted and very strange strangers, or a 5-day staycation while watching 6 very active toddlers by yourself, of none of them are your own. Okay, does that make sense? Do we have that?
Got it.
5-day road trip, party bus, extroverted, strange strangers, 5-day staycation while babysitting 6 very active toddlers, of which none of them are your own. What do we do? What do we do, y'all? If you have to
It's
make
a
a
tough one,
choice.
This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I mean, talk about extremities.
Yes.
I think for me, I would go on the party bus, fully knowing that at points of the 5-day trip, I'd be incredibly grumpy, but I'd probably just about go on the party bus, I think.
Okay. Jigs on the party bus with extroverted and very strange strangers. What are we doing, Kondo?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I've got one child, and 5 seems a lot. And I think I'm going the bus. I think I'm going to go
You
hard
on the
on the
bus
bus for
too?
about. I'm going to go hard on the bus for like a day and a half, and then sleep the rest. I think, but anyway, we'll see.
Just exhaust yourself.
Honestly, I was also thinking, where would I be more tired? And as much as I would be really tired on a party bus, at home with 6 toddlers, I think you'd have full-blown fatigue. I've got to say.
I might
So I've gone
volunteer
with
to drive. I might volunteer to drive the bus and just have an
Oh,
excuse. And,
Kondo's driving the party bus.
I'm going to drive the party bus.
Is that figuratively leading the
Oh.
party bus then, though, Kondo? That's the only issue.
Well,
Where's the party
it gets
bus
me off the
going?
hook from madness, doesn't it? So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, it's always fun to have to try to figure out 2 really tough choices here. I think the party bus, well, with both of your varied experiences and ability to talk to people, I think the party bus would be much easier. At least you could talk to some folks. The toddlers, I'm not sure that they're going to care much about your 20 years of experience in the workplace.
Now, clearly, I would want to know what you would do as well. I'm sure Mark does as
Yeah,
well.
good point. Good question.
Oh, come on now. Folks don't normally turn it around on me. I just get to sail right into the questions. But honestly, I love kids. Our daughter just had twins. Love seeing them, hanging out with them. There's something about them being your own that's different. I think if I were by myself with 6 toddlers, none of us would be our best selves. So I'm hopping on the party bus with y'all.
Let's go.
Let's go. We could all go together. Clearly, we could all go together.
Let's go.
Makes it a bit easier.
All right. Sue, who's our producer, Sue, can you make sure that you get a party bus planned for us? We can do some kind of webinar or podcast from the party bus. Let's make that happen. Okay. All right, let's jump in. As much as I want to continue to talk about the party bus, we're going to start cutting through the jargon. And so when we talk about strategy and innovation, sometimes we tend to get very comfortable in words that mean something to us or that we have become very familiar with, and they stop bringing meaning to other folks. So we're going to talk a little bit about, first getting kicked off, about what does this jargon thing look like? Are we talking at folks instead of with them? Do we clearly explain what kind of things we're talking about when we're thinking about AI and business strategy? I know both of you have had to do a lot of that when you're working with different teams, different clients. So we're going to start talking first. And this is a fun way to kick it off, I think. We're going to talk a little bit about jargon. And so I would like to start off with you giving me your short list of your most disliked or overused words or expressions in the business space. And then we'll talk about what do we replace them with. But what's your short list of expressions that just give you the willies? Who wants to start?
I'm happy to go with a couple. So I think partly because it's so overused and they don't actually explain what they're trying to achieve. I hate the word transformation. It's become so overused and means
It's in my title,
very little.
Jig.
No, but you know what I mean. Transformation is transformation. And then the other one I also think is efficiency. And I think these words are used instead of actually the value that the organization is trying to derive from the solution. And I think it gives people a opportunity to use those words instead of actually expressing the outcome that they're trying to get to, either for the organization or for the employees. So I think it's almost like a get out of jail free card rather than anything else. But that's
Mm.
why I don't really love those expressions.
Yeah. I'm with you on the transformation. I think make it even better. Digital transformation. That, you know, like it almost feels like an old term now. It's kind of redundant. Like it's just well, you might as well get rid of digital. It's just all change, right? The other one I'm having a problem with is skills-based organisation. I think because it gets people off the hook from actually talking about what the hell it is, and not that it's a bad thing, it's just people need to be storytellers before they put bumper stickers up and punchlines. And I just think, unfortunately, HR and well, every department really loves a little quick term and thinks everyone understands what they're talking about. But I can assure you, no one outside of HR knows what you're talking about. So that's a problem.
Yeah.
But the actual strategy is fine. Like that's not a problem. It solves a big problem. But it's actually solving a problem, not which is, you know, what skills do I need to work in this new world where AI is predominant? You know, that's more the discussion. I think people go, we need to become a skills-based organisation, and they forgot the why. So it's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, so there, I agree with those ones, and that I just had that one in. Yeah.
All right. Well, I totally agree, even though I'm giving you a hard time because transformation is in my title. But I think what you're both saying through those words, efficiency, digital transformation, skills-based organizations, I think, Jig, what you said is right. Like we tend to use those to kind of cover over what we're really saying or not saying. They just tend to be filler words, and they tend to make us sound maybe smart, but don't necessarily get to the heart of what's going on. I'll share. There's a couple that go ahead.
I was going to say as well, it doesn't win hearts and minds, and you know, Kondo's right. People don't understand what you're saying, and therefore you don't win hearts and minds, and therefore you're losing your most valuable asset, which is the sentiment of the people within your organization. And I think with everything that we're trying to do, and I think as Mark rightly pointed out, there's nothing wrong with the strategy and actually what we're trying to achieve. But in order to achieve some of this stuff, you've got to win the hearts and minds and the sentiment of your people. And that's what it stops us doing.
I totally agree.
I love that.
I think the other one is you can't have one talk track for everyone. And there's no point going to a CFO and a CIO, CEO, and having the same conversation. You need to talk at what they want to understand. At the moment, so while you may want to achieve, you know, transformational changes that benefit employees and better experiences, more efficient, you know, efficiency, there you go. I've done it, boom. But you put it in my head. You put it in my head now. I can't get rid of it.
Can we double click on that a little bit? Oh, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to tell a story in a context that they understand and want to listen to. And I think sometimes we just skip over that and it's on the slide. So we miss the whole story that beforehand, that's all.
Yeah, I love that. And both of those things that you're saying, right? Win the hearts and minds and do storytelling. All of those are about getting to what people are looking for, not necessarily what we're saying. My husband, I had said, I'm sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. Give me a second. Hopefully that's better. My husband was... I came home one day from work and I had said something to him like, we're over-indexed on onions. And he looked at me and he was like, never say that again. But I didn't even think about it. It didn't even come to my mind. Like I just, the first expression was over-indexed. Like, okay, so I think we do this a lot in not just in our work life, but in our home life too. So how do we flip it and get to what we're talking about, the heart of the matter, what really matters, instead of these big words that kind of talk over things, how are we looking at the replacement? What kind of things should we be talking about? If we're not talking about digital transformation and efficiency and alignment, what kind of things should we be using to really help folks in organizations understand what we're trying to get at?
Do you want to
For me, yeah, I'll give it a go. Yeah, I think one of the things that I think is a brilliant philosophy and it's used so well in great organization is simplicity. And what I mean by that is there enough simplicity in how you either tell the story or articulate the value proposition? I'm not now using terrible words myself, sorry, but articulate the outcome that you're trying to get to in a way that is well understood by the vast majority of people that are your critical audience. I remember speaking to a really great senior leader within HR who worked in retail, and he had an acid test, and he says, "Would Dave from the deli counter be able to understand what you're saying?" And that simplicity then meant that if every single person within your organization truly understands why this is a great thing, what outcome you're trying to get to, then you're probably communicating it in the right way. If it becomes over-indexed on corporate lingo, see what I did there? Then you're probably
very nice.
You're probably doing yourself a disservice, because people aren't going to fall in love with what likelihood is a pretty good design, a pretty good product, but you're not allowing people to fall in love with it.
Yeah, it's a good point. I love that over-indexed. I once talked. I'm very bad at business bingo because I'm terrible at just those things. So my team actually played business consulting bingo with me once, where they all had cards, and whenever I said words like transformation or whatever, they'd yell out.
Oh, business bingo now. Okay.
Yeah, so it was business